Okay. All right, so we are going to call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m., March 23rd. And attendance appointment of alternates, we are all here, so no need for alternates. And on to the budget workshop and. Wait, any added agenda items?
Tom has a whole list.
Yep, go for it, Tom.
Okay,
Make some motions.
I make a motion that we add to tonight's agenda the following departments. Can we do it as one whole
Yes,
motion?
yes.
Okay, that we add the following departments, the Board of Finance, Treasurer's Office, the CIP Commission, Property Insurance, Debt, CIP Allocation, Employee Benefits, Contingency and Revenue Estimates.
I think it's first, Proctor. Is there a second? Second. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Good to carry on. Hello.
Hi. All right, so our first one is actually assessor. So Amy has to sit through a couple more. She's not here. But
Patty's not here.
nope, and nor Ruth Ann, she's in the selection meeting. So
Okay.
the assessor budget, they are out of contract for the two clerical employees. So the only thing in here is the assessor at her 1.75, and the rest of the contingency for the merit is in the contingency line. And her only other changes is her printing and bindings going down $3,300. This year she spent $3,000. She's going up in books and periodicals, just shy of $1,000, and her dues and fees are going down $24.35. So overall, she's going up 0.2 for a total of $213,191. That's the assessor.
You said they're
Anybody have questions?
out of contract.
The clerical,
Clerical, out of-
third year out of
I
contract.
was gonna say,
I think it's
is
the
it
third year now. I think they haven't been in contract since 21.
who's
I am, but it's been like,
It's been torturous. I'm on it too, but
okay,
it's been torturous.
okay.
there really hasn't been a lot of meetings recently. It's just about a bunch of back and forth between Josh and
Language and,
In the same place.
all right. So that's the first one. The second one's tax collector. And the full-time salary there is only Patty's salary. Heidi is not in contract because she's clerical. The longevity stays the same. Heidi hasn't moved to the next level yet. Because there's so many years that they stay at one before. Heidi is our very last person in that union that got longevity, and that was from, she was here in 2013.
Lindsay gets that, doesn't she?
Yeah, anybody hired prior to 2013. So this one we reallocated. She had $8,875 in professional services, but then she had nothing in printing and binding and less in supplies, and she reallocated them. But overall, she's really only going up $2,900, and half of that is salary. Anybody have any questions on hers? And Amy's up next as town clerk.
I just, is there, what is it, is there differences in this versus what's in our booklet? What is it?
Well, the one with the lines on the side, gives you the 3 levels. So the one I handed out tonight shows you what the department had asked for, so that matches
okay,
the
gotcha.
papers in the book,
Okay.
and then what Jay did, and then what the Board of Selectmen did.
Gotcha, okay. Thank you.
In a lot of cases, there's no differences, but there are cases where there is differences.
Okay.
So what you have in your book might not exactly agree to what is now in the final budget
Okay, thank you.
going forward from here.
My budget didn't change that much. Besides my salary and, I think I don't have it in front of me, professional services.
Oh, your part-time went up because we
Oh, my
went from
part-time.
19 to 20. 19 to $20 an hour for all the permanent part-time. This was actually a Board of Selectmen initiative last year. The concern was that as minimum increases, our compression between our full-time staff was getting smaller and smaller for the difference. So we switched, instead of going to $20 an hour last year, we went to 19. And then with this year, we said we'd go to 20. So this is the second of those bumps to make them $20 an hour. And they all get paid the same rate no matter what job they do. And her only other, your professional services are going up $100.
Because we,
And that's it.
yep, when they audit for our land records, they charge. Is it 53 or 54 cents per document? That's not in contract, that's something who they contract out with, so, that can go up every year. That should cover.
So her total budget is $154,743, and it's going up 1.4%.
Wait,
Doesn't have clerical
Mhm.
salary increase in it because that's out of window.
And it doesn't have any, right, because we do our performance evaluation. Right,
Well, it's missing your contingency part.
okay,
Yep.
That's pretty simple.
Pretty straightforward. Anybody have any questions?
Any Question for Amy?
No.
Look at that.
Okay, it was easy.
There
thank
you
you
go.
for your time. Is Ken up next?
Yep.
Okay, I was okay.
Well, we have planning, but we'll do planning
Oh,
before he
okay.
gets here.
That's fine. Have a good night.
Thank
You
you.
too.
So planning is actually going down. Their staff, two of the people are in contract, but another one is not. But they are eliminating their part-time position. That Peg used to fill.
Mhm.
They are not, you come in. They're not choosing to fill that position.
And why is it?
They just don't feel that there's a need with the 3 full-time bodies that are there. They think they have enough staffing and it's working fine. So that's, and then she did ask for $2,500 more on professional services. Because the $48,000 she has in there currently is just the consultant for EDC and whatever other land use thing she needs. So she has no money for anything else. So she put money in there so she'd have money for something else. And she's going down a little bit, a couple $100 in dues and fees. So her overall budget is $275, $460, and it's going down 3.4%.
That's-
And let's see, planning and zoning, no change. ZBA, no change. Inlands, wetlands, no change. Ag, no change. Conservation, no change. Economic development, they did $900 more for professional services, wanting to hold some kind of event. So they originally asked for, was it reflected in there? Maybe.
Yeah.
They originally asked for $1,800 all for activities and nothing for a recording secretary. But Ruth did not put it in that way because she was not gonna have a recording secretary for that commission.
Isn't it not the commission though that they can never seem to get a quorum and don't ever have a meeting?
Well, for a while there, they were meeting regularly, but they have lost members again, so it's just one of those committees that. But they need it. If they have meetings, they need to have the clerk,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
so.
I'm just saying event wise, I
what,
think
sorry,
you
what
got
board
2
are you
people,
talking
where are
about?
they gonna plan?
EDC,
EDC.
You said zoning board of appeals, right?
Yep.
Is there, like, they only spent $625 this year, is there a reason why they need more than,
Cause it's reevaluation year, so we plenty
Okay.
of discussion.
thank you,
yeah, the reval we pushed off,
that makes sense.
we'll come back next year for it.
Thank you.
Gonna bite us in the butt at a later date.
And so now we are at building, which is below the police, it's 4213 on the end.
There you go. It's after the police.
Page 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
The very bottom.
So the line item sheet, Andrew, I had Andrew put everything together. She did not give me the line item sheet, but that's,
You wanna look at it?
it's okay. I was
Okay.
looking at it with you today,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
I should be fine.
So building. There's an increase in the full-time salary. And that's because we hired Ken at a different rate than we were paying Rand. So there's an increase there. There's the same increase in the part-time salary from going from $19 an hour to $20 an hour. And then his professional services, he asked for 20,000, his current budget was 10. And Jay gave him 15, feeling that if we had a big project, we would have extra revenue that we could take and reallocate to pay for services if we need extra services tied to a really big permit.
Well, that's, I mean, is the solar farm. Wherever you want to
Should be
call it.
coming,
Yeah,
yeah,
so that's already paid in.
nope,
They haven't paid it?
No,
No. okay.
no,
No, is that
the building permit hasn't
Okay,
happened yet.
no,
but that is that something you're gonna handle on your own, or is that something you're gonna hire?
oh no, I would need a lot of help with that.
You're not thinking about putting somebody on site all day, all the time,
No, no.
just like in and out.
Yeah, so and help me with inspections.
Mhm.
And then plan review.
And he did ask for more money in supplies and more monies in dues and fees, and he's just trying to cover the things he needs that were not asked for previously. So his budget is going from 185,963 to 199,289, a total of 7.2%.
Makes sense to me, there's some big projects going on in town. Oop,
Sorry.
What's that?
That's our fire marshal.
There you go. No, I said it, I mean, what you're asking, it makes sense to me with the amount of projects we got going on in the town now, so.
Welcome back, Nick.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
How long you been, and how long when did you start?
July,
What?
well, I started full-time in July, I was here part-time for about 7 months before that.
He was working as a deal with South Windsor.
Oh,
We were
okay.
getting
Yeah.
hours from South Windsor. Originally, and after Rand left in February.
Okay.
So from February till July, we were filling in with whoever we could get come to ours.
So you stole something?
We did.
Yeah.
And the other guy from South Windsor went somewhere else.
Oh, well.
Within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours?
Yeah, so I, once I decided to come here and I put in my resignation. The guy that was working for me. Came up to me. He heard, I made sure I told him, you know. He goes, okay. And that was 11 o'clock in the morning, whatever. 8 o'clock the next morning, I had a paper on my desk. He just came up and goes, I'm out. I said, I gotta bring it down now. So I brought it down to them, and they were mad. I go, I didn't plan on this, you know.
And it's not like we took both of them.
Well,
Somebody else took the other one.
you know, he went to Windsor.
Well, thanks for joining.
I'm happy here.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, like I said, it makes sense to me, and.
Like I said, if we get to where we need money
Yeah.
for consulting, I'll be back to you guys looking for a transfer from the revenue, the extra revenue. To be able to cover the expenses that we need.
That'd be a nice revenue from him.
Mhm.
'Cause
Yeah.
he's gonna get
Yeah, it would be
nice-
his revenue. Yeah,
The revenue.
yeah, we're not budgeting for any of the big projects. We're budgeting standard building fees that we normally have. Because the big projects then have costs associated with them, so there's not a lot of sense to
Yeah.
budget for them and then have to use money that's not budgeted for the expenses, so.
No, that makes perfect sense. When is that project gonna start this year? They're gonna,
Was that the solar?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gave them permission to start grading.
Yeah, I see they're clearing land.
Yeah, because they have two substations that are gonna be going in, so they have to get ready.
Yeah.
And probably in potentially May, you'll see some equipment being transferred over there. So I need, from them, I'm gonna need the building permit, then from that, I need a route for trucks. So, and how many? Approximately, so if citizens call and they're complaining about the trucks, we can give them an estimate of how long this will be going on, which routes they're supposed to be taking, and I'll have that all set up.
Send it by rail, the railroad goes right to the property.
That would be nice.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm good,
Good.
I have no further
Okay.
questions.
All right,
Thank
you're
you.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well.
I don't know if you guys want to spread out, but now everything else is me. I'm your last, person in the hot seat. No rest in the night.
We're lucky.
Well, all right, I guess I'm the only one that really that can spread.
I was
But
gonna
I know
say,
he's coming over your way.
Yeah. Liking that I'm not.
Yeah. We can move the camera.
So I mean, like out of view, it's kind of nice.
Put your feet up. What? What don't you like?
well, no, not you, not the book, just that I cannot find his section.
So he's
right
in
now.
two.
I am in two,
Oh, are you two general government?
yeah,
Always
He's
take
in
them
public
out.
safety, so he's in three.
Yeah.
That's
told
my
me
one
he's in
complaint
two.
about our books.
You go to-
One is general
Right.
government, two is public safety, but in here, two is general government and three is public safety. My book is not in the same order as yours. I don't make my, I don't make my agenda section one. I put it on the front side. Instead of making it its own section,
Yeah.
I put it on the outside and I start with one being general government, two being public safety, because that's how the numbers run. I'm a numbers thing, sorry,
Well, we know
but
that.
they're in three, and he's the very last one, I think, or close to the last one.
Yeah, and it's all I need, so just direct me where to go, to get real ones. Real quick.
Sorry,
Okay. I'm like looking at it like,
find it.
sure,
For me, yeah,
where am I going?
Looking to.
Alright, where are
Ah,
we? What
there
are we
it is.
doing? What are we starting?
They're just looking at building.
I just wanted
I want
to
to
see
know where
the
their stuff
supplies
was.
and dues and fees, and I
Oh,
wanted to
left.
see the breakdown of dues and fees.
I read
And I
that a
couldn't
couple
find
weeks
the
ago.
section, and it was like, great.
You know, he's paying to get the car washed, which I don't know that it had ever been washed before then.
Was it gotta look pretty?
No, but it shouldn't have the mud all over it, that whatever job site you've just been on.
Oh, good over there.
I'll look this later.
We have a public works garage, it has all kinds of.
I was gonna say, I think you can watch it at the public works garage, which is free.
I'm not washing it.
I'm just saying, I think it can be washed at the public works for free.
Okay, so we're gonna start with yours. So, so I don't know that everybody heard last night, but Jason was not correct when he said we had 3 audit proposals on our meeting last week.
I think I was the only one there when you told me.
We have one,
Guess who?
Mahoney Sable. is
Okay.
it. And if you look in your guys' budget, which is in section 2,
Here we go again.
the number is 105, you guys are in the very beginning of it. Before assessor, before anybody else. You're 105,4,118. After arts and culture.
Got it.
All right.
So I had gone from 46,200 to 50,000 for the audit, knowing the fee was going up, which was like an 8% increase. It came in at $58,500 for the first year, and it goes all the way to 65. So I talked to Mike tonight. And he said, they're just trying to cover their costs. All their costs are going up. They're paying their employees more. So he said he was only realizing about 60% And usually in government, they try to do 80. For commercial business, they recover all 100%, but for government, they do 80. So government work doesn't pay for them to do it because they're not covering their cost of what it's costing them to actually do the audit. So, but he increased it, so it's gonna be like a 17% increase,
What's
So we
the-
were,
but it's the only one we had,
And
so
he's the only proposal we
he's the
got.
only proposal we got,
how much
Knew
was
that was
it?
gonna happen.
58.5.
Okay.
But I've got people not getting anybody RFPing for them,
I know.
Yeah, we're lucky to have.
so I'm happy to have an
One,
auditor.
we knew that was gonna happen anyways. We said, you and I both said it.
Yeah, and he had been keeping them really low. I mean, we were changing like $1,000 a year,
Mhm.
and if you think of cost, nothing's only gone up $1,000 in any year,
Yeah. Okay.
so. But he is really good. If we don't need a federal audit, he doesn't charge us for it. It's not like a fixed fee that even if he doesn't do it, we're paying it.
Yeah.
We only pay for it if he has to do it. And we had several years we didn't have to do them. That's why the fees look so low in the old years. Because until ARPA came, we weren't getting enough federal dollars to have to do it, because that's gotta be $750,000. And we were not getting that much in federal money prior to ARPA.
Hmm.
So, getting ARPA in 2021 was the start of us needing to do federal audits.
So
And eventually it will go away, and then we'll be back probably not needing it.
does the 58.5 include the need for the federal audit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, cause I have to budget for
Yeah,
it, cause I don't
okay.
know until the year's done whether
Right,
we got
okay.
$750,000 or not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And right now, if you think about what we've gotten in the
Yeah.
congressionally directed spendings,
Mhm.
there's money out there for, water now. We got another water project approved to get water to Park Hill. So, yep, so we'll be paying it for a while. And probably at least until ARPA's done, because we still have a couple $1 million of ARPA money to spend.
Where's that? That's a separate line item somewhere, it's not in the.
It's in your Board of Finance. We're doing the Board of Finance.
No,
It's
no,
in-
no, no, the ARPA, where is that?
Oh,
No,
the
usually.
ARPA money is in a grant, in a capital fund. It's a grant,
Under
so
this,
we have to report those all separately. We got a total of 3.4 million. We spent 1.2 million on the erase grant. And if it passes on the 4th, then we'll do 924,000 of the 2.1 that's left
Mhm.
for the community center.
Yeah.
So that will still leave us $1 million, somewhere around $1 million. That needs to be allocated to projects before 2024 ends,
Yeah.
and then it has to be spent by 26.
Yeah.
Okay. So Board of Finance, so your budget needs to be changed.
Oh, yay.
I'm sorry. I think everything else we left the same.
Yeah.
I think that was your only increase. Yep, that was your
That's what
only
it
increase.
is.
And I think the numbers are fine. We did lower some of them last year, but it seems to be fine. Our mailer's running somewhere around $1,000. I think we used to budget 2.
Mhm.
Our annual report, I think we used to budget 3 and we switched it to 2, but it cost us $13.52 this year.
Hmm.
So we could get a couple bucks, but not enough to save, whether we're saving a mill rate or not. All right, so Board of Finance is done. Treasurer,
Yeah, Amy, can I? Because it's budget workshop, so we can kind of hop around if we want to, and we have Dr. Tudor here, I want to take advantage real quick. So last night, the young lady Anna talked about the diversity council. And I see, what was she talking about, and are you really gonna win? Or when?
So there's so we are in conversation, regarding a project. That does seem to, on, an initial conversation, seem to fit into our curriculum. And the project does have, value and worth. I will tell you that we did learn ourselves, at last night's meeting, that there was a potential cost to that project. So we're unaware, that there was a cost to the
Yeah.
project. This came up at our Board of Ed meeting last night too.
Okay,
And so we clarified, I mean, now my understanding is Daryl, or, who oversees, curriculum, had a meeting prior where they were, the rep for.
Whitstone, right?
Yeah, was going over the project, and at one point he talked about a proposal, which we didn't have. And Daryl asked about the proposal, it appears that Anna had it, and she had indicated to him. That could be something that they discussed, that like it's essentially like in the works, so. He wasn't quite sure how to perceive that, and then last night. We discovered that, the thought process is, that we would cover half that cost. Complete honesty and just being candid, I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah.
Because we learned about that last night. I mean, like I said, there's worth to the project. We'll continue to have the conversations, as far as, the price and the price point,
The total cost is $5,000 for that one project.
yeah, so my understanding, and that's one unit of instruction, so that's not for like the entire year, like we have programs that cost that much, and we have programs that cost less than that, and we get a whole year's worth of instruction.
Right,
So we would consider that a little, pricey.
Yeah.
Now my understanding is the reoccurring, like you can use that unit over and over and over again. And so that wouldn't incur like additional costs. However, if you want to make modifications or you wanted to like essentially take a different theme. And I may be overgeneralizing, but this is kind of like what I gathered in the last day or two. There is additional cost, not to the tune of 5,000. I want to say it was around 1,700, but don't quote me on that.
Mhm.
So again, we'll continue those discussions. I would say we're not quite there yet, like the
Okay.
price thing was new to us.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, sorry, go ahead, Amy.
No, that's okay.
It just opened to diversity council and it was like perfect,
I would say saying here actually has already been helped. I texted Ryan that like at least we know Mahoney and Sable is the auditor for next year.
Well,
So
yeah,
coming
and that's
up with
good, so
nothing,
that's
huh?
consistency for you guys too, though, I guess is good, because they're familiar with you.
And I
that-
think for us,
Probably
it
a
will be
good-
helpful to have them again because they know the stuff.
Right.
Versus every time you bring somebody new in, we're teaching them,
Right,
right? So by the time you get through your 3 years, they're finally helpful and then you switch.
Like,
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
and I will say our Board of Ed had indicated, like, once the auditor was selected, they had made the request for myself to like reach out to see if we could like contract with that person to come to a Board of Ed meeting and just kind of educate them as far as the process, especially like when you taking into account our past history,
Mhm.
they wanted to take that proactive approach. So I'm sure this will be welcome news, to them as someone that's familiar, and,
So we'll appoint him at our April meeting,
Okay, Yep.
right? Because I was
Yep.
supposed to do the follow-up on the RFP, but the follow-up's gonna be that there's only one bid, so you guys can appoint him.
yeah, that's good, that's all good. All right, cool.
All right.
All right.
So now me, the treasurer. I'm the only salary that has a contract right now. My 2 clerical do not have contracts. My part-time person is getting that same $19 to $20 an hour raise. Overtime, we went up because it's just not enough money. As you see, our numbers were already out of budget this year. And there are it's helpful to have a part-time person, because for a while there, we really didn't. But there's still some things that our people just need to do, especially audit time, budget time. There's certain times a year, the end of the year, 1099s, W-2s, that it really needs to be my staff doing it versus the part-time person. Though we do love our part-time person, she is phenomenal. Let's see, longevity, that's just contractual, both my people get it. Payroll service, big increase. We are going to be over budget this year. So we spent $15,000 last year. We only budgeted $13,500 this year. I just came to you guys last week and got $2,000 more. So that should get us to there, but that doesn't give us any room for extra money next year. The more part-time people we hire, and definitely including Broadbrook Fire, the more money we pay, because we pay by the person. So if they hire 3 or 4 guys to fill their shifts and they added shifts in the day, they added shifts in the night. We pay the processing for all that.
Who do we have?
We have a law of employees.
No,
They-
no, who is the payroll?
Oh, we use Paylocity. But we really like them. Apparently, before I was here, they used ADP. And it was much more expensive and not as user friendly. So everybody here likes Paylocity. And so it's the number of people.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's the per cost fee. It's just the number of people we're hiring. You know, the more you try to do with part-time versus full-time, you're gaining expenses on the other side. You're not paying medical for them or benefits for them, but you're paying processing fees for more people. So I think the few more dollars in the processing fee is a better deal than paying somebody's medical insurance, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Because that number needs to change too. All right,
So you're, the 16,775 is the number you're. that you're-
estimating that we need for
Okay.
next year.
We don't need to change that number, you're just saying.
Nope, but that's one of my big
It's like
increases.
24, yeah.
Just a little tiny dues and fees increase, and overall my budget's increasing 2%, but that doesn't have my clerical salary in it.
You know,
We're hoping that before you guys pass a budget, that's done and voted on, and,
let's just.
Because then we'll
reach a point of
reallocate it all.
ridiculousness with them.
it's not going any better in the other one either, so.
I know.
A lot of
I know.
ridiculousness going on.
I know.
All right, so the treasurer, CIP committee. This is just our recording secretary for the number of meetings, but I don't think they're budgeting enough, because if you look at last year, we had an extra meeting, so they're using all their meetings in the fall and not saving themselves one for June when the budget gets passed. Because once the budget gets passed, they have to take the new amount. Because they always put in for way more money. They put in, I think, $1.5 million this year.
Yeah.
Of projects on a budget of 900 and something.
Mhm.
So they always have to meet again and talk about what they're gonna recommend to the Board of Selectmen. So I don't know, part of me is thinking we just make it 875, so we have enough to do the 6 meetings they wanna do in the fall, plus the one. It's only a total of 7 meetings at 875. Maybe 6 meetings. It's 125.
Mhm.
I have a phone, I could do the math. I think it's 125. I think that was one of the ones we didn't change. 125, perfect. Are you the clerk? Oh. Okay.
That's how.
So my recommendation on that one would be we up it to 875.
Okay.
All right,
We're trying to be cops. No.
huh?
So we're trying to make cuts.
I know. You let that shot.
I haven't heard it cut yet.
Cause they ain't just fine.
Property insurance is still in section 1, but towards the end, it's in the middle of all the planning commissions. Just because that's where the number fell. It's 10054157. It's on page 5 of the
57.
report.
Okay, top, we got it. Okay. Property insurance?
Property insurance.
Yeah, it's the top line on page 5. Can find it.
Yep.
All right, so we're flat on Kerma, but we had a $6,500 increase in our cyber policy last year. So I put in another $6,500 for our cyber policy. We paid $30,000 in the current year for it, which was a $6,500 increase over the year before. But at least we have insurance.
Yeah,
So unfortunately, about 3 or 4 years ago, Kerma used to cover cyber in their regular insurance, and then they cut it out. And then we had to go out to market to try to get it.
well, probably because it's turning into such a.
I know, yeah, the ransomware alone.
Yeah.
And the money being sent to the wrong places and stuff. So, so we do have it, we do have to fill out a zillion pages of applications and questionnaires and go through a big process to keep our insurance. But, the last year increase was 6,500, so that's what I put in for this year. Thinking it wasn't going down.
Yeah.
So even though our Kerma lap is flat, our cyber is not. And the $5,000 deductible, it's just a guess. As you can see, we blew it this year. But it just really depends what happens. It's $500 if somebody has a car accident, and it's $5,000 if we have a DNO or some kind of employee wrong doing for the deductible. So that's really, it's just a guess. If you look in some of the other years, you know, we didn't have any last year. We had $674, which was a couple mailboxes probably, and maybe one car accident. But
I picked my own number.
it's my best guess.
All we can ask, I guess.
Okay, now we
Can one
go
of your best guests have like a $10,000 deductible?
on, no.
No.
So now we're all the way down at the end, and I don't know what section debt is in for you guys. Maybe after the Board of Ed might be section 6.
Yeah, Board of Ed is 6. Where are we going?
Like page 9.
It looks like for me, it's 8, so maybe 9 for you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the first sheet in the section.
Debt services, is that where we're going?
Yep.
That's 8. Yeah, and it's having,
I don't know how you ended up back on my same tab.
we
It's
are,
in my book.
date in my book.
Put together?
No, J stacked.
Oh.
I would not put the ones in the 2 tab if I was putting the books together.
Oh, boy.
We're not gonna go there.
Okay,
All right.
debt service. You will see, we've been keeping it, even though we're not spending it, we've been keeping it because if not, we lose our capacity to bond. And we have some major projects coming, a high school roof, a radio system that's failing. So we've been keeping it flat, but then not spending it. And that's how we had money to do the debt pay down that we did in 21. That's how we had some money to move towards that community center down payment, the grant match. So this year, Jay took $200,000 out of it and moved it over to capital. Thinking that capital's one time. And so then we won't have so much in the general fund, but we could use it to boost capital, so it's a little more than it was in the past. But it's an even wash.
And you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, because we turn it back. 'Cause even if we do debt, we will not pay a principal payment until a year after we do it. We'll have an interest payment like within 6 months, but we won't have a debt payment, a principal payment until a year. So I'd rather see it there than spent on a body. Or upping a body so there's benefits tied to it. I don't know. I just as soon see it in capital. We don't do enough for capital.
Nope.
Our $900,000 in change that we do every year is just not enough money. I mean, people asking for $12 million in project stuff and we're doing $1 million. So I'd like to see us somewhere around 1.5. But there's just in 2% budget or trying to keep things flat, it's very hard to move that needle at all.
Yeah.
And then as the debt comes on, then we would have it to move back. So we might have a couple years, we could put a little extra into capital. But
Yeah.
so I think it's fine.
Okay.
And like I said, overall, it leaves it still in the budget.
Mhm.
It just is not in that line, it's
Just
in the
a-
capital line and will be
Yep.
spent on something that should be a non-recurring project.
Gotcha.
All right. So there's that. CIP allocation, so that's the other half of this. It was originally 988. This year's, if you're looking at the revised budget, the number's way bigger. We did a $910,000 additional appropriation in September to do some engineering for the school roof, to do the backhoe, to do the
Oh, yeah.
fuel tanks. So that number looks like it's actually going down if you're looking at the one that has percentages, but it's really not.
Mhm.
It's because of the additional appropriation into this year. So it gets us to 1,188,000. All right, employee benefits. Yeah, it's brutal. So. The first one is the 27th payroll. This should be in that same section with that. It should be right behind it. If you look at last year's number on the one that has the 3 years of numbers. my total was $201,000. My budget was 175. So I upped my budget from 175 to 200, but clearly still not enough. So my thought is this year is gonna be 225, and that next year I made it 250. I think that gets us to the biggest it can be before we drop back off for less days falling off the other year. You know, does that make any sense to anybody?
I don't think I'll ever understand.
Sorry.
What, 27
Yeah.
payroll?
We're off payroll. We went through it this year. We're going into miserable.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Just one of those weird.
Yeah.
It's really just an accounting function. The calendar, if you take 65 and divide it by your 5 days a week, you're not getting even numbers. Or your 7 days a week, depending on what shop you work, whether you work 24/7. All right, FICA is just a function of the salaries. The DB pension. So last year we had a big decrease. We went from 730,000 to 650 because the market did so awesome. So Amy's thinking the market isn't doing so awesome that we're gonna have to go back up. So I have us at 716, but it is just a guess. I have gotten nothing from our actuary yet.
When do we expect that?
Not soon enough.
Well, I know. Okay, but when do you think? Okay.
All right, so 401 and 457. This covers our matches for both. We have police, dispatch, and me who get matches in our 457. So this is just a number and it's my best guess. OPEB. So we do two things with the OPEB line. You'll see this year's very high. We had a long-term employee leave and get paid a lot of money for all his accrued time. So there's a small piece that we get from the actuary that says you need to contribute $16,000 or $20,000 into the fund. We pay that first, but then anybody who gets paid out other post-employment benefit for time off gets charged to here. So I will have to cover that when we get to the end of the year. Because right now it's over budget. Tuition reimbursement, we've had a little bit. We dropped it because we haven't had, if you look at our numbers, 3,000, 2,400, 400. We haven't had a tremendous amount of people taking advantage of that. And the person who did the 3,000 that one year graduated with her master's. So she should be all done. Let's see, the next thing, unemployment comp. That's just our best guess. We are self-insured. So if somebody collects, we pay. We've had nobody collect, except we did get an interesting one for an employee that still works for us the other day.
Less
So,
hours?
well, we're thinking fraud.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me.
Yeah, true.
So we're in contact with the police and, because I happen to be a police officer. So he was not happy.
It's happening a lot. It happened to me a few months ago.
It's happened to us. Now that you said that, it's happened to two of our employees.
Get a call from HR.
Ridiculous.
So, did you put in an unemployment claim? I'm like, I still work here.
We thank the
far as I know.
We thank the person for volunteering for us.
Yeah, there you go. That's awful.
It's happened to the state employees.
Is it? It's crazy.
My wife's been in.
But it was
the other
the
day.
correct social security number,
Yeah.
the correct earnings in each of the quarters. So very scary.
Yeah, that is.
That,
ridiculous.
we were hoping it was like a typo in the person at the labor department. Like in the social security number, like there was a typo done when they went to do the letter. That's what we were hoping, because
Yeah.
we're like, how could it possibly have happened?
Oof.
So, but at least it was a police officer, so they're looking into it.
Yeah,
On
right.
top of the labor department's looking into it. So I was visiting with the detective the other day.
That's-
Yeah.
So, but so far we haven't had any claims this year. But last year we paid 16,000 because we had a big claim. The year before we paid 1,100. The year before we paid 13,000. It really just depends. If they leave here voluntarily, go to another job and lose that job, we're on the hook for any of the quarters that belong to us because we're self-insured. That's what happened, that 13,000. We had somebody leave here, go somewhere else, lost their job, and then we were on the hook for it,
Yeah, that was never done.
so. Only if you're self-insured,
Unfortunate.
because if you pay into the pot, then you pay 2% of your salary all the time, so you're not on the hook every time somebody collects. There's two ways to do it, you're self-insured or you pay 2% of your salary, of all your salaries, which would be a lot bigger number than this
Well,
15,000
yeah,
that we budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see, workers' comp, big decrease. We were not taking into account the contributions we get back from WPCA, from Broadbrook Fire, and from the ambulance. I was budgeting in all the past years on the actual bill we get, but we get reimbursements from all three of those entities. Broadbrook Fire recently, not in, that didn't change until they became their own fund.
Look at that, a reduction.
Yep, so that one goes down. But it's already accounted for in your budget, unfortunately. All
So, we'll take the one.
right, so health insurance. I have bad news. We did get our numbers and they are the right numbers, but I got told somebody's coming on with a family. That was not in my numbers. So the net between the $6,600 he was getting to be in lieu, because he was an officer, they get the most, they get 50% of the individual premium back if they don't take our insurance.
Yeah.
But it's $28,000 to put your family on. So we have a bad to the tune of $22,000 that this account needs to switch to.
You're just full of great news tonight.
So the
So happy.
one, so the
You
one,
pick, you pick to do all mine,
yeah, so the 1.683 needs to go up by,
1705200.
17.
The good news was the numbers were pretty close to the ones I estimated. If we hadn't had this change,
Yeah. I'm
our
looking at
number
it
would have been
all.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So heart and hypertension, we're going down, and the reason we're going down is because the fund has $350,000 in it. Where we've been moving money over in the past, and our actual claims have been very low. $2,600 this year, 3,000 last year, 15,000 the year before, and 12,000 the year before. That was the last year, the 12,000 was the first year we didn't put the extra in there. Because we're already at $350,000. I mean, if a claim comes through, it's gonna be big dollars anyhow, probably bigger than the 350. But instead of putting
there's not many people left.
a couple. One just recently retired. They had to be here 19. I can't remember the year.
Yeah, it's fine, but the number, it's, we're down to just a few people.
Yes. They had to be hired prior to a certain date. And then physicals, the 3,000 is a lucky guess. I mean, we've been running around there. Obviously, the number of people that leave, the ties to the number of money we need for physicals. But this does not include anybody from the fire department or anybody from the police department. This is just town hall employees. If I left and they replaced me, it would be physical for somebody where we have to go get our pre-employment physical and drug screenings before we come to work.
Okay, but you're not moving, so.
Never know who could be. All right, so that is my overall employee benefits. Without my change, the increase was 5.9% before my $22,000 adjustment that needs to happen.
I can't really blame you for health insurance and stuff.
I'll do my best to guess.
Yeah.
All right, so contingency. Huge increase. This one doesn't have the original budget. I think we went from 150 to 228, but we have clerical out 3 years, police out 2 years, and public works coming out.
And public works will probably be done before the other two.
Probably. Yes, our current budget was 130. But considering 2 of the buckets just added another year, and then a new one came on, and it includes the supervisor's 1% merit also is in this number. So that is my best guess of what that number will be. For contingency. And that's the non-wage part, non-negotiated wages. The other part, I just do $50,000, and you see, we've used almost all of it this year. We're down to not very much left. And I got told we need more for our police search,
Really?
for the guy to come here. I guess, we're down to, 6 finalists,
Yeah,
so, but the guy needs to travel here, I guess.
one of the finalists?
No,
Or the guy who's.
The guy
doing it
who's
for us?
doing it for
Okay.
us. The consultant we hired.
Just checking.
Consultant we hired.
Yes.
All right, so that's contingency, so that number is flat. Revenue estimates. I gave you guys 2 sheets, one looks like this. The other one looks like this.
Yes, sir.
They're the front side, they're the front 2 tabs of the sheet I send out. I sent you guys a new one today because the revenues changed. We got the Board of Assessment Appeals revenue numbers. And it changed a little bit, about $300,000. So somebody was successfully in reducing, it went from 1,045,690,000 to 1,045,357,000.
Oh,
It's 2.67%. What's wrong?
I pinched my finger about that.
Sorry.
It's a minor
Minor
medical
mishap.
emergency.
All right, so I'm gonna start with the second one because that has the detail of the revenue in it.
Which is the long one?
Yep.
Okay.
So currently on this long spreadsheet or any of these reports I just did, the total with the Board of Ed at 3.98 is 4
Last year.
505,991.69. We need to do something with the 69 because that makes me crazy.
What? Say that again.
That's the Board of Ed number.
What?
It has 69 cents.
We can cut the 60 minutes.
I'm like, what are you talking
So-
I might have it right here.
So if you look on the sheet, see this taxable balance, town budget, the 44,505,992, that comes off these sheets, 44,505,991.69. Then I put in all the governor's numbers for revenue, all our guesses for everybody else, and it backs into what we need for a mill rate. Based on the total budgets. So these spreadsheets are actually all linked, that this number, as we make changes on these long sheets, flows through to here. And then drives what our mill rate. So when I changed down here, the grand list, I went down that $330,000. It changed when Jay presented this last week, it was 0.11 mils, 0.34, but using $1.2 million from fund balance.
Does this include the 22,000 we added, or this is, okay.
You guys have to,
Yeah,
when,
that
once we
was-
get
yeah,
through all of
okay.
the presentations and you guys start on your workshop,
Yeah.
you'll have to make those changes. I just was making you aware of them
Yeah,
because I
okay.
knew about them.
Okay.
I have to tell you, I'm very surprised you let him put 1.2 in there.
Oh, no, we had words over it. I did not let him do anything.
Well, as we know, I'm not opposed to that. I feel like that's the only place you can attempt to return any money.
And if you
I
really
know.
think about it, we're gonna return money this year. So you'll have that, because I've already started to look at the end of the year and we're gonna return money. Part of it is because there's that debt money
Right.
in there that we knew we weren't gonna spend for debt payments because we haven't gotten that far yet.
Right.
To borrow anything, to put any of our projects close enough to have debt. So we're gonna return money, and that building permit that we talked about for the solar is $1.8 million. So a share of it he's gonna need, but the rest of it is gonna flow through, and we don't budget for it. So that will flow through till the fund balance. So I don't know how much will come in this year versus how much will come in next year, but so that is the only reason you see this number here. Is because we can make up for the whole thing just in one-time revenues
So we can
coming
go along
from.
with it.
We are going up,
Easy.
we're going up
I know, baby
60,
steps,
we're going
baby
up
steps.
60%.
You know.
But my overall judgment has not changed. I still don't like that we use fund balance, but it is the only way to give money back to the taxpayers.
I was reading.
And we've done a really good job of trying to get capital done.
Right.
Lots of additional appropriations over the time I've been here. Some big projects getting taken off the table. We've gotten some fantastic grants.
Yeah.
So a lot of things, good things are happening here. So I'd say that that's probably the only reason why I'm okay with this, besides we know money's coming to cover it.
I don't know, I was reading the JI today. One town, it's one I figured would be, it only has a 10, they're less than 10%, and we're at what, 18 or something like that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, some towns, I mean, we have, literally twice plus what they have, and they're,
So it wasn't like that for many years.
Yeah, so when I got here,
Yeah.
there was barely no fund balance.
no.
And nobody cared whether we had fund balance or not, but that is not the way to run a town. One bad thing with a boiler or,
It's used,
you know, it doesn't take much to need big dollar. Well, the dam, perfect example. We needed $500,000 to fix the dam. And it wasn't like we could wait. The thing was falling in and the road would have fallen in next if we hadn't done it.
People.
So-
It was crazy.
So that's why we have fund balance.
Yep.
And that's why I like it at the top side of it, because when you have to take $500,000 out, that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
When you have to take out a big chunk like that, so.
Yeah.
So, but that's what it's for. It's for those things that you can't imagine are gonna happen. And somehow we have to pay for them.
Yeah.
So that's where we are for revenue estimates. I'm happy to make this 750 again, if that's how you guys desire.
Just leave it alone.
And that's
Leave
the
it
end
be.
of mine.
Leave it be.
Anybody have any questions?
No, because I was tired of hearing, man, this is a really big increase. It's a really big increase.
We'll take your time and look over it and we'll talk about it later. I try to make sure Munis is kept up to date because this has the bills through today.
Yeah.
You know, whatever we did for a check run, when I run a report and it has year-to-date numbers, it's through today. So where the other one, I have to key all in. I have to go back into the Excel. So before we start doing your guys' numbers and I roll and make a board of finance column, I'll fix the current year up to date. But these are more helpful because this is a push of a button and you guys can get clean reports.
Before I leave today, we just print, because my thing at home is giving me a problem, so I want to print the agenda for all the other ones coming up.
Okay, well, the problem is I haven't filed any of them. And we have to talk about it because now we don't have room for Tuesday.
That's what made me think of it, that we don't have a room for.
Because planning and zoning are in that room and nobody bothered to tell me when I booked it in October. When I put your guys' schedule in for the year, usually they tell me that
They kicked
there's
us out of the
something.
room again.
So usually they tell me that I can't have that room and we make the decision whether we do that night or pick a different night. And instead, I got a phone call today. Where are you meeting next Tuesday? I'm like, in the meeting room? And they're like, there's a problem. And I'm like, so why did nobody tell me?
Remember in the old fashioned way when they had the big calendar?
Well, yeah, calendar, you write it on.
And they wrote it on there you guys gotta go back to that. Cause
Please let the boss know.
that's your night.
Right, so it's your meeting.
So where are we?
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be?
not, I'm getting.
And we're not gonna fit in here.
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
you know,
We don't fit in here.
Yeah, that's nice.
But the only thing is, we wouldn't be able to do Zoom. Right?
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
not?
Broadbrook School, they have it all set up.
Yeah, we do.
That's where they do
So
their
we would be
meetings.
able to take.
You could, yeah. I mean, it would be on, your account, but that'd be fine. I don't know who sets it up. Is that you, Amy, or?
Yeah.
Jason?
I do.
So I suppose if we could do that, with Broadbrook School.
Yeah, I would just need to know how you want, the room, configured, and we would just configure like the tables however you want.
You wanna do that? I'd rather not push it into those other days in case we need those to tear apart stuff.
Okay. I don't care. I'm fine with next Tuesday, other than we didn't have a room and, you know, the other choice is Park Hill, but then you have no video
No Zoom,
capability, no
yeah.
recording capability, so that's what you lose when you leave town hall.
Yeah.
And this room is not big enough. And we have others on that agenda. We have a lot of little ones. American Heritage, Register of Voters, the library, arts and culture, veterans, cemetery. So,
How big is the, I've never been when it was at Broadbrook.
We can fit, so there's one or two options. We could use the room that they use for the Board of Ed, and they have a similar setup to, as far as for video and, recording, and there's actually microphones on the ceiling that pick up the voice. And, we can fit our entire school faculty in that room. So let's say you can fit 30 people
So we should
comfortably.
be okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that, if you need a bigger space, we could always put it in, the cafeteria.
I think we'll be okay.
With those short
30 room.
chairs.
Oh, yeah. They're available, you're short chairs.
Okay.
I've never been to the room at Broadbrook, so I don't know where it is.
No, last time I ever went to, it was at the high school.
Yeah, no, the room's, it's a good size.
Okay. all right.
Yeah, Nicole shows up right away.
I did,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, you need to know, no?
We're on the way for the poll to get to follow her there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just go if you go to the back where the cafeteria is,
I don't know.
like that parking lot, so right across from this.
Where the
part.
fence is to like the
Right,
preschool,
so,
like,
yeah, preschool across,
you know,
and to the
that
side
door
door right
is the
there.
best door to enter.
Next to the playground.
Yeah.
I know where the cafeteria is, I know where the playground is.
Perfect. Between there,
Sporting rounds.
Yes.
right across the street.
No, no. Where the room is.
If you take, if you,
Yeah, yeah,
if
you
the
got it.
playground is right here, there's a
I got it
door
right
right
there.
to the playground.
Okay.
You walk through that door.
We use it
They
for
have
TV
signs.
room, we use it for a Board of Ed, but we use it for professional development.
There's another door closer to the playground.
Like that's
Yeah.
like their
Yeah.
meeting. The
But-
review of the student,
That's probably one of the
like,
morning
used
drop-off
more
points,
for
right?
professional
No,
purposes.
it would be in that parking lot.
Space that other door, Only used for that, so kids never access that room.
Oh, it's a nice setup.
Yeah. It's taking a while to get it right.
I like it. I think it. The camera follows you. Then on you when you're talking, that stresses me out a bit.
That's a little stressful.
I actually haven't noticed it.
I do.
Go on.
Like, don't breathe too loud.
Yeah, well, it's voice activated.
Yeah,
The
no.
box is where the camera directs itself to.
So it's kind of like what Zoom does when you're in like a bunch of participants.
Yeah,
You get
when
that
you-
yellow
yeah.
box around you. when
That-
you're hands on
yeah.
things.
No,
No,
No.
just one day.
stays. That's what, like even here, right? Can't see the whole.
Hi. All right, so do we have any other questions of Amy, or, I mean, we can discuss, I mean, we have an agenda, but we don't, in this type of setting, we don't have to stick to this. So if you have any questions about anything you've been going over or seeing or whatever, ask now.
I just have this one about. On my sheet. That was last year versus this year.
Yep.
And it says there's no increase.
Oh. Well, that's interesting. This says it's 100% increase. Which isn't right either. So there must be a formula problem.
So the
All right.
one to believe is. On here,
Yeah, well, the other sheet that has the percentage, that one doesn't have a percentage. It's the same numbers. It's going from 130 to 228. It is going up $98,000,
okay,
but that's not the right percentage.
okay,
It's gonna be pretty close, because we're going up 100,000 on 130,
so this is,
Yeah.
that's what.
but there should be a percentage on that one. Oh, but see, that's not gonna be helpful either, because it's at the 111, because I've already reclassed a bunch of stuff out. So
Okay,
that percent's not gonna be helpful either. This is the revised budget. This is the only thing wrong with this report. This one here gives you the original budget. Where's the one with
So
the,
give us only the one you like.
well, they're both helpful for different reasons.
What does percentage, what does the
Yeah.
percentage?
And one has the comparative of what the department asked for versus what
Versus
Jay
what
did
Jay
versus
did.
what the
Yeah.
board of selectmen did. So
Yeah.
they have two different purposes. So it's still, the number's still right. See, it was 130. See, here's the original.
yeah, okay,
So there's your 130 going to 228. So the numbers are right, 130 to 228.
got it, okay,
This is what's wrong.
ignore the,
So
okay,
I'll have to fix the formula.
okay.
I have to make myself a note.
Okay, after the question.
Yeah.
For your meeting, have you guys started, did you meet and discuss already yourself?
As far as the Board of Ed,
Yeah.
yeah, so, mine, like the superintendent's proposal came in at 4.88. we did go from 4.88 to 3.98. The majority of that reduction though was the change as far as the medical insurance. So the March, I forgot what the date was, but early March, they gave a projection. I want to say it was at 10%. And then the January one was 10%, and then the March one came in at 7.4%. So that was almost 250,000 right off the bat. And then I will say the Board of Ed did make changes, but those changes were more in the tens of thousands, both increases and decreases. Where it was a net decrease, but again, like, I don't know what the actual dollar amount, but it was tens of thousands of dollars.
And are
on
we gonna,
top of the medical insurance.
are we gonna get? 'Cause I know we've got this, which is like a nice overview, but will we also get something similar to the town side?
Like we used to.
I have, so I can do the, Ryan can print the Munis sheets. He does have it, lined up in Munis. I will tell you, they will match up to our budget booklet that I put together. So do you have the full booklet? Because that will break it down.
I think that it's the one on the left in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think that's
the
the whole booklet.
presentation. So every department has a spreadsheet,
Okay,
and it gives a breakdown. The Munis will
so
be the same.
this
Yeah.
sheet.
I just walk.
Yeah, no, yeah.
that doesn't look like-
We're looking for it.
Yes, so this is, so. When we print out the Munis, the only thing is like the titles and descriptions, they get cut off.
Okay,
So
okay,
that,
this is from essentially just a cleaned up version.
correct,
Okay,
yeah,
Okay.
so the Munis is just going to match up with this.
okay.
I don't know if the Munis will report the FTEs. I mean, not, because I don't know if we, one of the things that we still are in the Munis is position control.
Okay.
So I'm not actually sure if it'll print out, but the amounts will be the same.
Okay.
But that is like essentially the breakdown department. So that's the overview, and then like every department is identical to. To every department that's in there.
Okay, thank you,
You're welcome.
appreciate you. I just wanna make sure I know what I'm looking at
Yeah.
before we get into it.
Yeah, and then the budget commentary isn't like a dollar by dollar, but it gives kind of.
Yeah.
The overview as far as like any changes, increases or decreases, or and like the explanation for the changes.
Do I need to do anything with your school people to?
I'll take care of this tomorrow.
Perfect, thanks.
All right, so that's everything for tonight. Now, usually, and I didn't do this early on. We usually do quickly early on where you feel you're sitting, what you're thinking about, where you think you might want us to be, and then halfway through, when we start tearing it apart, we kind of reorg and ask again. So this is just a generalization for how we're all feeling and where you think you seem to want to either land or, it's just time for commentary really quick, because it's the beginning. We got a long road to go. And I'm gonna call on you because you're right across from me. Oh, lucky.
I don't know that I have like a strong feeling one way or the other at this point. I definitely would love to be able to, reduce the budget, but nothing is jumping out at me as of right now, like, ooh, let's take that away. So, I will say I do appreciate, I like the way that Jay laid it out on the town side, where everyone came in, his, reduction, and then the reduction of the Board of Selectmen. I like seeing kind of that picture and all the work that they already put into it. So, I mean, yeah, I think we'll see, but I don't have any like strong feelings at this point.
Just save my money from the general fund alone.
Oh, I can say that.
You can say, well,
Yeah.
I guess the only thing is just kind of the increases that we're seeing, which we really don't seem to have too much control over. So I'm just kind of wondering what that's gonna look like overall. And then, what does that then mean for us in terms of, if we have to kind of try to mitigate that somewhere in the budget. So I think that's just something that I'm kind of keeping there right now, but, haven't seen anything yet that I wanna focus that on. I think it's waiting to see.
yeah.
I don't know that we're, what's been presented so far is far off of where we're gonna finish, there's a minimal increase, and if we can bring that minimal increase to no increase, I think probably we're gonna finish up.
Sounds good.
I don't know if you were gonna say something.
I will at the end, because I'm gonna say motion to.
I just keep seeing a lot of increases, and again, we don't have really any control over most of the increases, which really irritating. And
It's-
I like to see it, they were at zero, if we could. And I'm just tired of always giving back more money at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think we're giving people too much money sometimes,
Yeah.
if they're giving back money every year. It's just costing the taxpayers money in my mind. But I'd almost like to see them come back and beg for money halfway through the year if they had to. That's my opinion.
Gotcha. Mr. Lansmer?
It was interesting. I heard two comments last night from two different people. One of whom was very supportive of the budget the way it was. And a second person who felt that the town budget was way too rich. The first selectman had put a goal of no increase, which I'm not opposed to. With the current economic situation being the way it was, and at the time that was written, I think we could have done the zero increase if we found 123,000.
I don't think that's right anymore.
No, that's not right.
I think that's out the door.
Yeah, so, I guess if we landed at no increase, I wouldn't be opposed to that. What bothers me year after year is more of when I really looked at the CIP book this year. And I mean, on the school side, I didn't have a calculator, but it looked like there was at least $7 million, if not more, of improvements on the school side with new roofs, new windows, new HVAC. And then with all the other places in town coming up with more millions. And it's just disappointing to see that we're never going to get to most of this. And I appreciate the 200,000 that was put in there this year, which we'll get a couple of them. But, even if I look at what Melissa did with, new pickleball courts, new surfaces here and there, on basketball courts or whatever. It's just sad that I don't think we'll ever get to most of those because we've never done it year after year after year. And I guess maybe the sad reality is there isn't money to do that, but it's disappointing to sit here and see things that we could do and we really just don't have the money to do them.
Also, I know I already went, but I will say that I also was, someone had posted the other day asking about. Bulk pickup, right? And so like it was shared where we have a new system. Like, why can't we be like South Windsor and have it picked up for free? Have you considered adding that into the budget? And I'm like, please come to a budget, like, this is the stuff like we don't hear from anybody, and I do wish. Right, like yesterday, we heard from a few people, but I truly don't know that it was because we had a budget hearing. I think it's because there was the town meeting that people were here for, right? So it's, I just find it sometimes frustrating because I truly don't know what direction the town wants us to go in with things because we don't hear their voices.
They want everything for nothing.
Right, I see things sometimes on Facebook, right? That's one person that would like us to have that as a service. Like what is, I wish there was a way, or I wish more people would share what they actually want. Because I'm just going based on what I think makes sense, right? So.
One thing we all need to keep in mind, though, is that we are putting $450,000 on the fund in here that may not be able to happen next year.
We're actually putting,
450,000 more than we have.
oh, gotcha. Okay.
You're creating a bigger hole.
Yeah, bigger hole, but you
But
know what?
I mean, I hate to say it. Not that I hate to say it, but I do agree with Amy. I don't like using fund balance for that.
I don't think anybody likes using it. The fact of the matter is, though, I agree with Tom, and it's frustrating, and I'm not saying anybody in particular. But what is frustrating, and I don't disagree, when people do get up and say, you return this, you return this, you return this, and health insurance, and it's all those things that we have to do estimates, and that is what budgeting is, But that is the frustrating part, and we really do have too much of the taxpayers' money right now. And that is the only way, I mean, believe me, I know people would love us to mail refund checks like the IRS. But that's not how it works, you know, so that is the only way you can do it. And like Amy said, if she did like go, I would take it more seriously, but if she and Jay came to an agreement, then I feel much more comfortable. Because I do feel like I just get really frustrated. I know we do the best we can. But every year, you know, we need, it's just frustrating, you know? And you know, I agree, Tom, with the capital, but I guess because I've been doing this so long, I counted back like how long, and it's been like 15 years. And I remember what we used to do. And I feel like we've accomplished so much more because, whew, years ago, it was like nothing.
Nothing got.
Just like, what is it, OPEB, how much are we supposed to put in there? Like, where are we on the benefit?
The heart
Pension,
hypertension.
no, pension.
Oh, pension, we're, well, I don't know, because we're having a terrible year in the market.
Okay, but where were we?
We were over 80.
Yeah, which, like, a handful, like 10, 12 years ago, we were like.
Well, that, and we're funding OPEB.
Yes,
We have a fund for the storm.
Yep.
Money, we have a fund for the heart and hypertension.
Yep.
So all things that barely existed when I got here 5 years ago.
right,
Those are all things that have been worked on
yeah.
and building over the years, along with the fund balance.
Yep. Yep.
So
I think so.
So
I would
many
say the nice
projects
thing
that-
is we do have some grand list growth without the reval even. We ended up with 2.67 after the BAA. So that helps. I mean, that is why the mill rate that you're looking at is only 0.12 is because of the grand list growth.
Yeah. I think, and you know, I stayed quiet last night during the community center thing. Just because I thought I might say something I was in trouble for, but, the other thing though is, and they're not mentioning it, they don't mention it a lot, but. It's the entire facility, like, that is one of the nicest soccer fields.
Oh, yeah.
My son played for years on that soccer
Beautiful.
field, and teams would come and be like, wow, this
Beautiful,
soccer
yeah.
field is beautiful. And now it has bathroom that we did, you know, I mean, but it's the entire encompass, I love that bathroom, entire encompass. How horrible it was to sit there during a soccer game and have to like go at halftime and run to Dunkin' Donuts on Route 5 because you were like, oh my God, we're gonna miss the game, and everybody be lined up in their bathroom for Dunkin' Donuts, but. But anyways, it's the whole campus, you know what I mean? It's the idea of that whole thing being there, not just the building with that, it's,
I think
You
that's
know.
what Nancy was highlighting. like,
yeah,
it
exactly.
really is.
And I love that they came out and said that they're not giving up the grounds. That they're still gonna let scouts camp there and use the woods for their activities that they need to do.
You know, so, but yeah. So I kind of agree with Tom. I just would like to see the zero because of where we are right now in life and everybody's life. Both of you actually said the same thing.
Okay.
Visualize it. So, but yeah, so that is just kind of where I am now.
But I can also say, because I was on CIP, and of course CIP gets killed every year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a fact of life. I mean, we know when we budget, I mean, one year we were over like 1.8 almost, and we were lucky to get 900,000.
I almost wish we could put out like a survey, like, like, what do you?
We just did
They did.
for the ARPA.
Yeah.
We've mostly hiking trails, outdoor activities. Most of the stuff was about outdoors that came back on the survey. The bulk of it.
Yeah.
But we've done a lot of good improvements though, because the lights are coming to Abbey Road.
Yeah.
The playground, the boundless playground is coming up to East Windsor Park.
Yeah,
So we do have some good things coming.
Yeah.
Through grants.
yeah.
So.
It's just like, even when we do the vote, like if it fails the first time around, like, so I wish there was like, if you vote no, tell me why, right? Like, so-
Oh, yeah.
Too high,
No,
too low.
It's a whole.
Yeah.
Right.
No high, no low, like give me something, I don't know, I wish there was a way to have like a better indicator.
Well, it would be nice, but just look at it though, is that whenever we have meetings, we
Yeah.
have crickets.
I know.
So it's, you know,
That is frustrating. You know, it's $44 million.
Well, no one was there when Jay was talking about the community center when we moved the money.
Right, I know.
There was nobody there to have any sort of objection to it or anything.
The objections come from a group those games, yeah, no matter what you do.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you decided to build on Rice Street, they'd be objecting to Rice Street.
Yeah.
Just the best that we can do, so.
Yep.
At the end of the day, like, I just hope that that's what people know, is that we're all just making the decisions that we think truly believe are best, right? And
Yep, and they do
Like,
have
yeah.
plenty of opportunity for public input. They could be at tonight's meeting, they could have been at last night's. We had 4 people speak.
I-
Four?
Three.
Oh, it's three.
I was gonna ask something. Amy, is there any way, so like with for the SIP, I'll just, I won't say anything else, but with the SIP piece. They talk about that there's a backlog for the number of years that some of these projects are on.
Mhm.
Is there any way that we can see how long they've been sitting on a list? Is that even kept
I think
anywhere?
they rank it up, don't they?
No, they rank it, but,
But they don't tell you that it's been on there since 1998.
right,
Yeah,
because there's this,
So,
because
I could probably tell you.
the other, the second.
Look for the book, I can tell you.
Well, what I'm wondering about is the ones that are unfunded, like how long have those been sitting there?
Well, you gotta go by the ranking, because that's all that, everything was determined by the ranking.
Yeah, but the second page of, it says projects unable to be funded. I'm thinking some of these have probably been on here for a good number of years.
Probably.
Oh, I can,
Yeah, you could.
And we can probably just look at it and guess.
Which page are we on? The
That's all,
blue?
this is a very odd.
The one that says.
No, no, no,
Wait,
the
well,
one
before
before.
that.
So what wasn't funded? You know, something been sitting there.
Projects
for-
unable to be funded. Is that this?
Yeah,
Okay,
because
so,
when you read the other one, it says that
Well-
they've had a backlog for those.
so
projects.
replace middle school windows, Board of Ed. Single pane and easily
well,
broken.
it's gotta be at least 5 years.
that's been here all 5 years I've been here.
Yeah, and. that's just
So you know
because
what,
the prices
Scrabble thinks our
for
chair
basic-
would have something that would give you the dates.
Well, I think,
So
I
I
just
can
think
reach
it's,
out to Adam.
I think it would be interesting to look at.
Adam, Meehan is our chair. So I can reach out to him for dates.
Well, because I think when people look at this, they just think of it as a point in time, and people don't realize that. you know,
Stuff sitting out there. If we don't do it today, it's not happening.
So this one, Board of Education, East Windsor High School, BMS upgrades, heating and cooling.
Well, those were
control.
new.
Isn't that?
No, that's new. Because as we started to look at the HVAC stuff,
Well,
it
that's what I
came
mean.
up that they really needed a remote way to control that stuff.
Yeah,
So that is new.
no, I know, but wouldn't that be part of the entire HVAC project, not just individualized out like that?
Yeah, but it still has to be, it could be done first without
You
doing the
can,
whole
you just have to
HVAC.
make sure that anything you put in has the
Would be
Okay,
compatible.
component that connects to the system. So you can actually put the system in now, control the heating, control whatever cooling unit you currently have. And then if you put in additional cooling units, it just has to make sure that it has the component. And my layman understanding of the terms that they can connect with the system.
Okay.
Yeah, and your system's probably so old. that
Oh, the
nothing
current
you can
system,
get-
oh yeah, there's nothing like
There's
that.
nothing that you're gonna get to talk to that, to talk to new.
Yeah, I will say, we just, because at that point, that was with the previous, director of facilities, our, Willie, who's now, was here now, has returned, as a much lesser, basically alternative than the one, than that one.
But you know what's interesting too, right? Like this, for the Barbara Elementary School, AC and 32 classrooms. I can't tell you how many people I say that complain about not having AC at the Barbara Elementary School on open house day, right? Like that was
Yeah,
like
the one thing I would say
that was
though,
so Facebook.
Broderick-
But I'm-
Yeah, Broderick actually has the most components of AC than any school in district.
But I'm just saying, like, right, like that's something that you could get someone, that we could get people behind.
Yeah.
You know, with some of that, but. Yeah.
Didn't have AC in my day.
You went to school in the snow, right?
Right. Walked up all the way.
Here we go.
I will reach out to Adam.
Yeah, it's
Thank
just
you.
just a question.
But I can tell you, other than like HVAC obviously became a very hot topic this year because they offered grants.
Yeah.
Through the school construction, which have never included HVAC ever.
Well, that's because of all.
So the fresh air and
Yeah, right.
needing the ventilation due to COVID
Yeah.
has driven some of these things to be more important I mean, that's why we just did the appropriation to move $400,000 for them to do the study that they need the engineering. So that the next time the grant opens up, we actually have the engineering that we need, so we can actually apply for it. So
Yeah.
we're getting there a little at a time, you know, that engineering, the pre-planning that people are complaining about now is so important.
Right. you can't
Because
do anything.
when the grants come open, what do we have? 6 weeks? And you were supposed to.
Yeah.
Get them all the specs, get a price from a professional estimator. And apply for the grant, meeting all of your town meeting requirements. To get the vote to be able to apply for the grant.
Yeah, you gotta be.
And it was
told
6
already.
weeks.
I will say though, in talking with some superintendents, some of them did go forward, their projects were approved and they were unable to do the projects because essentially. All the contractors are aware and they spiked their prices.
Oh.
And so they took advantage of
That is such a
it.
sucky move.
And and so like, and they basically like outpriced and the districts couldn't then do the work because.
That's where a smart contractor would have had pricing properly now. The rest of them.
Right?
Yeah.
So now Dr. Chair, on here is the track and the basketball court, but not the tennis courts. Are they somewhere or are they just?
They're not,
Getting
I mean,
work.
we prioritized, I mean.
Okay,
certainly,
no, I'm just
but,
curious.
I mean, certainly they need to be done, but I mean, I'll tell you, like, we prioritize the track
Mhm.
and basketball court, I'll tell you, certainly we recognize, the community interest in that, because, I mean, we get calls from time to time. But as far as like school, like, we don't have a tennis team, certainly we would.
I was gonna ask, nobody
Yeah.
plays tennis anymore, right?
No, I mean, certainly, I mean, if they were functional, I'm sure we, I would imagine we would access PE and do that. But as far as like priorities and thinking about, I mean, certainly we could add it, but it would be at the bottom of the priority.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm just curious.
The track is the one that they're having trouble being able to use it for meets and stuff.
Yeah, that's one where.
So that
I think we're
really needs to
probably
get
like a
to
year-
higher
a year
priorities.
or two away where it'll really be unsafe to use and we won't be able to compete on it.
And that one's not gonna have any
Don't
grant
take this wrong,
opportunity.
but that was bad 4 or 5 years ago, so it's just getting worse.
Even longer.
Mhm. All right, anybody else? All right, so. I put my agenda away. When's our next meeting?
Tuesday.
All right, okay, we'll talk about it. Tuesday, Broadbrook School, 7 o'clock. This opens one more time and does. Motion to adjourn.
Would you like to get a vote?
adjourn? No, it's doing it. Is there a second? Any discussion?
Don't be recall.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
The meeting
passes.
is gonna be at the grammar school?
Yes.
Grammar school.
Grammar school.
Is that where they teach grammar?
Use the elevator.
Okay, every time we turn the pages.
Whatever.
We don't have it yet.
Yeah, I know.
It's like-
I feel like I can do that.
Yes, but I call it a supermarket. That's why I call it a supermarket.
The grocery store.
It's supposed to be a grocery store. I remember that TV stuff. Supermarket.
Like I got my single went up $1. I think.
Wow, you want the pages?
I just-
Down a couple of bucks.
Like, what you do?
And the other one was.
They just gave us his name. And then like. Yeah. To do all that.
It's not.
My daughter. My daughters are short. They go on. I was asking. I will.
Never gonna open it again.
You guys shut it off?
Oh, probably not. Oh, stop recording.
Oh,
You
no,
have
I
to
just,
stop
I can do it. I'm
recording.
sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know I had power. Have a great day, everybody.
No,
That's video. I got it. We're getting there.